The views and opinions expressed on Beautiful Disasters are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their sponsors, or anyone else involved. Also, there is going to be a lot of adult language used on this podcast, so please keep your little kitties away.
Welcome back to Beautiful Disasters. Schlock Abuse Edition. I don't know what that was about. Anyhow, well, we're in the holiday season now, and
yes,
I like to give to my friends, and I decided this year for Grutz I'd give them the biggest fucking headache ever. With this Schlock Abuse, this is one that I had experienced myself back in the day, and decided, you know what? Let's just hand out gifts this year, and the gift of never wanting to watch this fucking movie again.
Oh my god.
So, before we continue, I'm F.U. Hunter, and with me is...
I'm the Grutz.
And the movie that I gifted to you for this Schlock Abuse was...
fucking Rollerball. Not the good one.
Yeah, I was going to say, before you're like, wait a second, the James Caan movie? No. The starring... Chris Klein. Who else is in this?
LL Cool J. Oh yeah, we got some we got some people in this. You know, like Jean Reno is actually a good actor.
Oh, you mean Jean Reno from the Professional?
Leon, yeah. And we got Rebecca Romijn Stamos.
You mean Mystique from the X-Men movies?
That's right.
Oh, how could this movie fail?
I know it even has an early.
Maybe you know what? Who's the director of this? Maybe that's the problem.
Well, the director is a bad motherfucker named John McTiernan.
Wait. John McTiernan as in
Predator, Die Hard,
Hunt for October?
Yeah, Last Action Hero. Fuck yeah, that dude's awesome. But not this time.
No.
God damn.
Oh man, I think this is one of the few Schlock Abuse where the person assigning it had thoroughly watched this movie.
You saw it in the theater.
I saw it in the goddamn theater. And I've been holding on to this one for a while. And I said, you know what? 'Tis the season. Here you go.
Yeah, this is a big fucking lump of coal, you asshole.
I think before you get into whatever the plot is of this thing.
Right.
I think the thing that makes this more devastating than some of the other Schlock Abuse is, again, I gave you something where you know what the potential of the director is.
Sure.
And you know the potential of some of the actors in this. And it's just a pile of shit. Nut that can't be saved at all.
No. It is a tire fire in the most real sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that they actually called it Rollerball and very loosely based it on the 1975 motherfucking classic, dystopian classic of James Caan. This was disappointing in every possible way.
There had to be a reason, though, you hadn't seen it so far, because you probably had heard enough about it being a shit movie.
I learned early on that there was a rash of bad remakes that were coming out right around the early 2000s.
Yep.
This is 2002.
Yep.
And I avoided it like the plague. I saw the trailer, I want to say back in the day, and I was like, no, this does not look good.
Was the starring Chris Klein, which for some of our listeners who are like, Chris Klein, who's that? Let's just update. That's one of the guys from American Pie.
American Pie, yeah. And not much else.
I was going to say, can you give me another movie he was in?
No, I looked at his IMDb, and he really hasn't done a whole lot. He's done some TV work recently, but I'm like...
I think he was in a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Maybe.
That's about it. But, yeah, so it's weird to... I guess maybe this was supposed to be his, Keanu moment, you know? You know, where Keanu Reeves kind of went from Bill and Ted. Yeah. And in small parts...
Point Break and...
Yeah, and then, I would say Point Break was the first, let's see if we can make this guy an action star. And Point Break kind of built it up, and then obviously Speed is what it was like, Keanu Reeves, action star. And I feel like for Chris Klein's agent, he's like, oh man, this is gonna take off. It's John McTiernan. You're gonna take off after this movie, and now it's just like, does it say starring Chris Klein? Like, it's one of those things where no, it had the opposite effect.
I mean, you're right in the sense that you're looking at the director and the cast. It could have been something better.
Yeah,
a whole lot better, but it just wasn't.
No,
it was not good.
At what point do they think they got into filming and Chris Klein went, I have made a huge mistake?
Based on his career, I think he probably thought he was going to be in a blockbuster.
Okay. It was one of those, he didn't really think this is might be career killing. He just kind of was like, this could be good, guys. Like, I mean, there might be some editing that needs to happen.
Well, I'll say after this, even LL Cool J didn't do a whole lot of feature films. He's mostly just relegated to TV at this point.
I'll be honest. I mean, when you talk about LL Cool J and how in big movies, the only movie that I really come to mind is Deep Blue Sea. I mean,
exactly.
That's his movie, and then maybe he was in other movies, but it's Deep Blue Sea. All right.
Yeah, I mean. Yes. God damn it. Yeah. So this movie, it opens with a kind of like a dare where Chris Klein's character, Jonathan, is doing that like downhill skateboarding thing where you lay down on the skateboard.
Yeah.
And he's like racing some guy through fucking San Francisco.
Is this like, and it takes place in the future, so is this what like...
No, it really doesn't though.
It doesn't? Okay, I thought it was in the future. I know the original was in the future.
Yes, the original was a dystopian like satire, and it was brilliant. Like, I
just didn't know if that's how they worked out things in this future.
No.
But that's apparently not the future. It's
not really.
Downhill racing.
It might be a little bit in the future. They don't really set the timeline.
They don't even really care.
All the cars are like, late 90s, early 2000s cars. And
maybe it was supposed to take place in the future, but they ran out of the budget, so they're like, it's kind of present day,
Yeah. So he goes on this race, and they're tearing through through the city, San Francisco. Cops get alarmed, and he narrowly escapes like crashing and dying. The guy he was racing ends up like hitting a car and going through a window, and he gets scooped up by his buddy, LL Cool J's character, Marcus. And I guess this Jonathan character was trying to get like a hockey sponsorship or something like that, and LL Cool J, he's like, hey, you got to come do this rollerball thing, man. He's driving like a swank ass Porsche, scoops him up.
He's like, dude, hockey's whack, man. You got to go the rollerball route, man.
Yeah, man. He's like, I'm rolling in the dough. He's got diamonds on and shit. And he's like, listen, you got to do this. My plane leaves tonight. You make up your mind. And Chris Klein's like, no, I'm holding out. And then he tries to go back to like his apartment, and there's cops there. So he's like, oh shit. 4 months later. Boom.
So wait, are the cops mad that he did downhill racing, so they were looking for him?
Yeah.
And that's why he decided to go the route of rollerball?
Yeah, he's like...
because of the dangerous downhill racing competition he was doing in the beginning of the movie?
Exactly. Yeah, he was like, oh, I don't want to get pinched. It'll ruin my chances. So he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll take you up on your offer. And 4 months later, they're in fucking Russia. Okay?
All right.
They're in Russia, where this international upcoming hardcore sport called rollerball is a thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a gladiatorial, insane situation where there's motorcycles, there's people on skates, we got a steel ball, you gotta like throw it against this thing, and like it's kind of a blood sport.
Yeah.
But it's
like roller derby meets like motocrossing meets Mad Max, like yeah.
And
or Thunderdome, I guess.
It is, yeah. And this, it's kind of like an underground situation, but like it's being broadcast over Asia. So they're going to different areas and they're playing, and like all the teams are really integrated. You know, there's men and women. There's people from all over on these teams. Like, it's not like the American team and the Russian team.
Right.
And I'll give the movie one bit of credit, is that the actual choreography of the sport was pretty well shot.
Okay.
Pretty well done. You know, it was a very active role. You know, a lot of the actors were actually
You've got a good
skating.
action director. I mean, so I guess that's one key thing is everything else might suck ass in this movie, but at least he knows how to do some of the action scenes good.
Yeah, that was the only thing. I mean, the story was absurd. But basically it revolves around this guy who runs the sport. And that's Jean Reno's character. His name is Alexis Petrovich. He's like an Stasi, Russian guy.
Does he have a bad Russian accent in this?
Oh, he has a terrible Russian accent.
Oh, man.
For the first 10 minutes, I was like, is he supposed to be Italian?
Yeah. Soon my rollerball team will be the best in the world. You're like, what's going on here?
So he's obviously making money because, you know, it's the kind of sport where a lot of blue collar people are coming out and they're betting money and they're just raking in the dough.
Yeah. So pretty much UFC. It's UFC.
Basically,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
UFC with skates and motorcycles.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty much. And so he's running this shit, and Jonathan, Chris Klein's character, very quickly establishes his prowess at the sport. One of his early matches, and you know, he fucking dominates, and he's becoming a star. And their team is kicking ass, whatnot. Weird ass fucking. I swear to God, there was a scene in this arena where there's it just pans across a concession stand, and I swear to God, James Hong was in this movie buying some kind of a snack.
Really?
And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I swear to God, that was James Hong. I did not watch the credits. I did not go that deep into the IMDb, and if he was in the movie, obviously whatever scenes he might have had was cut, because I can't believe that was his one cameo.
Yeah.
Because there were no lines or anything. He was just, from the distance, I was like, what the fuck? So they have this big match. Jonathan's team, Jonathan Marcus's team win. And then we have a Starship Troopers-esque locker room scene where women and men together in there. There's tits out. That everyone's slapping each other on the ass, joking around and stuff like that. And Rebecca Romain Stamos, her character's name is Aurora, and she's kind of like a badass on that team.
Yeah. And
tits out all over the place. It's fucking awesome.
You're like, all right, there's one good thing about this movie.
So, and then they all get dolled up, and then they jump in all of their sports cars, which apparently are given to them by Jean Reno's character because they're the celebrities.
Oh, so he wants them to look like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants them to be celebrities and ballers and stuff like that.
I want you to sell your sport of fanciness. Yes.
Exactly. And they go to the lamest fucking goth techno Russian club ever.
And this is early 2000s, so I know it's bad.
Oh, it's terrible. There's people in bondage gear dancing, but the music is so low that nobody has to raise their voice to even talk.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh man, that's bad.
It's hey, how's it going? Not yelling, or I can barely hear you, but wow, this is actually good volume for us to have a conversation at this.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So they're having a good time, but to rewind a second, there's one thing that happened in the match that is kind of the plot point that's setting up the rest of the movie, is that one of their lesser teammates, his helmet gets knocked off.
Yeah.
Kind of falls off. And then a dude smashes him in the face, no helmet on, with the metal ball that they play with.
Right.
Fucks him up. And so he gets hospitalized. And when they're at the club, one of the other teammates is like, hey, I found his helmet after the fact, and it looks like the chin strap was cut. And they're like, the fuck?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, shit. So basically the plot is that to boost ratings, Jean Reno and his assistant, who is played by Naveen Andrews, who played Saeed on Lost.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that guy. They basically concocted a plan where they're going to make accidents happen to boost ratings and make it more of a blood sport than it already is.
Right.
And that's kind of their thing. Like, they're trying to get these ratings like up all over because Alexis Petrovich wants to sell cable rights.
Yeah, blood sells.
He wants to sell cable rights to the U.S. That's his next big move. He wants to take this truly international and bring it over to the States. So our two main characters here, Jonathan and Marcus, end up taking this helmet up to the VIP room where Alexis is at, and all the bigwigs, like all the executives that like own the shit. And this is the cool part of the club, because it's basically like it's like a weird cabaret orgy situation.
Oh, okay.
All right,
so suggestive downstairs. It's just fucking going on upstairs, apparently.
It's bananas upstairs.
Yeah, they're like, well, we got the music kind of low and stuff. We might kind of act sexy, but up there it's like, it's fuck party, man.
Yeah, that's the high rollers area.
Yeah.
So Chris Klein is like, hey, I want to let you know that this was sabotaged. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of it. No problem.
No, he's telling the guy that's doing it?
Yeah. And he was like, as soon as they leave, he's like, "Mah!"
That dumb motherfucker, I'm the one that sabotaged it.
That's right, man. So
in Russia, helmet sabotages you.
So Jonathan and Aurora get together to try to figure out who's behind this shit.
Right.
Who's the guy they think.
Man, they are really hung up on that one thing that happened.
Yeah. So, they try to find this TV producer guy. He's not there. There's fucking riots going on in the fucking Russian city that they're in, stuff like that. They end up hooking up because they have this bond now.
Yeah.
And
well, they have to, yeah. I mean, he's a star and she's the leading actress. I mean, yeah.
Tits out.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to happen.
She's looking good.
And then he's going to tell probably LL Cool J later on, and he's going to get some high fives. And
that's right.
I've watched this movie. I've apparently blanked everything out because you explain stuff. I'm like,
fair enough.
I don't remember any of this shit.
After this episode, I plan on doing the same thing.
Yeah. If only we actually had that Men in Black thing where after you're done, when we watch these really shitty movies, you could just kind of turn it on and blank it out and be like, I don't know, I've never even seen it.
So yeah, the Jean Reno character, he's got like this whole security detail that's trying to keep a lid on everything. That's also like the bodyguards for these guys, but also keeping tabs on them. And he's having them follow these guys to make sure that they're both okay, because they're his assets. There's money makers. But also, checking in to make sure that they're not like getting wind of it.
Yeah, they're not figuring out about that one helmet strap that got sabotaged.
Exactly. So they they're trying to figure things out. It gets back to the next match, and there is a fucking Slipknot cameo.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they're in it. They're playing a song.
Are they like there?
They're live there.
Really? They're playing while the rollerball match is going?
Yeah, the soundtrack has a bunch of White Zombie songs on it. There's screens in the arenas that are showing like a Pink music video. Like, it's like, what the fuck?
I am gonna have to look up the soundtrack now because I am intrigued.
Yeah,
so Slipknot like straight up showed up.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay,
they're fucking there. And I'm like,
wow,
what the shit is happening?
I'm not a huge fan of Slipknot because
I'm not either, but
they wear a lot of costumes and they're not gore. But here's the thing, all right, you do kind of feel bad that of the movies, especially at that time, that was probably the height of Slipknot.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Of the movies they could have showed up in, they showed up in Rollerball.
It's so true.
Bad choice.
So the next match, they're trying to up the ante. What they end up doing is they orchestrate so that Aurora gets knocked off of her motorbike by this giant dude who pulls the freaking fuel line.
Uh-oh.
So it's leaking.
Yeah.
And then she gets back on and rides off, and then they fucking light the the stream
Right.
gasoline.
I love Die Hard 2, I would say.
Yeah. So it's like it's
following her,
it's following her up, and they narrowly
of course
save her. And what ends up happening is like Marcus ends up like rolling up on his bike, picks her up off of her bike, and like tosses her to safety, and then he crashes over the freaking like the barriers into the crowd. He gets hospitalized, and her bike rolls off and explodes.
Yeah. All
that shit. And then they're like, all right, so this shit is fucking for real. For real. So they end up, it's Jonathan and Marcus in the hospital. Jean Renault's like, hey, listen, you're okay. I need you back at the next match. You're my boys, right? And they're like, yeah. So Aurora sneaks in disguise with another member of the team to basically smuggle them out. Like, because Marcus is like, dude, I got kids. This shit's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get the fuck out. So they basically, they clandestinely break them out of the hospital.
Away from their bodyguards.
Away from the bodyguards. Nobody sees. And then they get into this fucking, like, truck, and they're, like, making their way to the border. Because they're going to be like, we got to get out of this country. We got to get to the fucking American consulate. This is it. And so they're trying to escape, the two guys. And lo and behold, 3 fucking cars of fucking bodyguards end up following them.
I know. This I remember. I do remember a ridiculous amount of like almost SWAT team.
Yeah,
like,
chase sequences. Yeah, it's like,
and this is where okay, I just remembered something. All right, during this entire sequence, is it in regular camera view or is it with night vision?
Mostly night vision.
Yes, I remember that part because I said nobody should watch this amount of a movie through night vision.
And none of them had night vision goggles on.
No! But as an audience member, you're watching the entire action sequence through night vision.
Yes.
Okay, that I remember because that pissed me the fuck off and gave me a goddamn headache.
And it was, it could have been a much more thrilling action sequence had it actually been shot like a movie.
Yeah.
But they end up kind of crashing the truck a little bit, and then they roll out the back of the truck on a motorcycle, both of them together. Of course, Chris Klein is riding bitch, you know.
Of course.
And they're trying to get away, and they kind of leave the other guys in the dust. They're doing like 120 down this fucking dirt road, trying to get to the border. And then they see some lights behind them. And they're just like, how is anything gaining on us? We're going a fucking 120 miles an hour on a motorcycle. And lo and behold, it is a military-grade cargo plane that is bearing down on them.
Yep.
And barely, like, just goes right over them. And they're like, what the fuck is this shit? And the goddamn thing, like, the ramp on the back opens up as it's like landing on this fucking road, and fucking Jeeps are coming out and shit. And it's like, what the... Okay, first of all, if this guy has that much money,
yeah,
he can just get more players.
Yeah, he can just kill them.
What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, like nobody can ride roller skates and dodge motorcycles like these can. Like, yeah, he's got a lot of... sounds like higher, specially forces motherfuckers. I'm pretty sure you can teach him how to skate and throw a metal ball. I'm pretty sure that can happen.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I guess he just had access to all that like ex-Soviet hardware after the fall.
Plus, here's the thing: like, he really wants to sell the sport to America, right?
Yeah.
And yet so they're having it be bloodier and kill people off.
Right.
Doesn't he have the resources just to pay off a few motherfuckers and get it set up for? He's hiring armies to like catch 3 people.
Yeah.
You think he'd have the money to kind of grease a politician's pocket or something? He's like, no, can't do that. It's got to be bloodier. That's the problem.
So they make a run for the border, and they're almost there, and then they start fucking shooting mortars at them,
of course,
as they're getting close, and like one of them like knocks them off their bike, and they kind of spill and crash, and so they see there's like a drawbridge not far away.
Oh,
and there's like, oh man, we can't both make it over there riding double Dutch. You know, you go. You've got kids, Marcus. You go. You can make it. And he was gonna jump the fucking the drawbridge that was going up. And so he tries. And then of course like the lead henchman bodyguard guy pulls out like a giant fucking sniper rifle.
Oh no.
And just as and Jean Reno's like, well, let me see if we can clear it first. And he does. And he gets down and he's within like 100 feet of the fucking like border.
Yeah.
And dude just fucking takes him out. So
he killed him?
That's it.
But he's got kids.
That's it for LL Cool J.
Oh.
Dead.
Oh.
Taken out by the sniper rifle. So they capture Chris Klein, and he's pissed, obviously, but, you know, and he's riding back on this fucking cargo plane, and he's trying to figure out his next move, and then he ends up having a conversation after they land with Jean Reno, and he's like, all right, listen, I want a cut of the merchandising and the fucking, you know, the profits.
Right.
If I'm going to be your guy, that's my deal. And then he also is like, yeah, and I want Aurora off the team, like trade her to another team or something, because he's falling in love or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't want to see her hurt. So Jean Reno is like, yeah, sure, you know, we'll work it out, no problem. You know, of course he's just like, oh, fuck this guy, I'm gonna make an example of him.
Yeah.
So the next match, not only does he trade Aurora to the opposing team, but also, he's orchestrated where it's like, all right, we want the ratings. We're going to kill our star.
Wait.
At the match.
Wait, who's the star? Are you talking about Jonathan?
Yeah, Chris Klein.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's the badass player.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, not really, though. But, I know. You know, I mean, in the movie he is. And
thank you for defining that. Like, he's not. Only in the movie he's badass. In real life, he's a huge pussy. All right.
So some of the players in this sport have basically what's like a field hockey, like a wiffle ball scoop thing.
Okay.
They're made out of metal, and they've sharpened all the edges so they're like blades now.
Oh.
And they're gonna get this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then they also make a new rule where there's not going to be any penalties. Basically, they take all the rules away. So it's legit now going to be a blood sport for this match. Everyone's like,
so
what
like, tonight, all rules get thrown out. You're like, oh, you know, I've never had that happen when you watch a sporting event. Like, all right, tonight, it's 5 strikes and you're out. Like, you know, wait a second. What? Like, just tonight only.
Tonight... The Super Bowl, there's no pads.
Yeah, no pads, no helmets.
And everyone gets a knife.
And
everyone gets brass knuckles.
And a mystery player has a gun tucked in his pocket, just in case. Yeah, like...
and he's doing Taibo over there.
We've got strict rules, except for tonight only, we don't. Okay, so all rules are thrown out. Apparently, it's set up that Chris Klein's gonna get murdered in some way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a fucking shit show. Like, the last match is, like, brutal as fuck. Like, everyone's, like, fucking each other up. You know, Aurora's trying to, like, even though she's on the other team, she tries to, like, swing it in his favor to try to save his ass. She gets pinned down. And then there's people coming at him with fucking bladed weapons, basically. And he's getting fucked the fuck up.
Yeah.
A couple people get brutally injured. One of their team members, who was like a local hero in Russia because he used to work in this mine, he ends up getting fucking killed.
Oh man!
And like all his old miner buddy fans are like start rising up and they're cheering on Jonathan because they want him to fucking like
God damn it.
win. And he's like. He's fighting this giant guy, and like it's a fucking mess. But he finally prevails, and he has the metal ball, and he's going to score.
God damn it!
And then he like skates off the track.
I remember the scene.
In a fucking, like, it's kind of like Pat Morita in that one movie with Jay Leno where he, like, kicks through the front of a fucking car windshield and nails a guy with both feet. He does that, like a flying both feet kick through the observation window where Jean Reno and all his cronies are in. Kicks Jean Reno right through the window, throws the metal ball, like knocks like one of the
Does he disarm? Does he disarm one of the bodyguards with the metal ball?
He disarms one of the bodyguards. He gets up. He starts fucking people up. It's ridiculous. It is absurd. It is the dumbest bullshit. I'm like, what?
That I remember that. I remember the night vision, and I remember that scene because he literally flies up in the air, crashes through the glass, takes out the bodyguards while on skates, and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
It's so absurd, and he beats a bunch of motherfuckers up. After he's like, I mean, he's already bleeding and like scarred and everything. And then he follows Jean Reno downstairs. Jean Reno is trying to get at these shotguns that are in his cabinet, but he can't find the key. The key's not there, so he's like trying to figure out he's loading shotgun shells into him, and he has to like break the damn shotgun stock off to like move it down and try to shoot him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out, and fucking Jonathan fucking fucks him up and beats him to death, basically.
Oh, really?
And then Naveen Andrews comes in, the assistant to the head dude, and he's like, listen, you're gonna need support, and if you take out the king, well, there has to be someone to take over the reign.
Yeah.
And that's going to be me. And then he's like, nope. And he just fucking shoots him with a shotgun. It's like, boom.
He's like, all right, it seems like we worked it all out. And he's like, nope, motherfucker, you're dead too, bitch.
And that's basically the end of the reign of corruption and blood sport terror. Which is, oh, God, it's so dumb.
Do they continue Rollerball after that, but as a safer, cleaner one, or
maybe?
But they don't go into it.
They pretty much that's the end.
All rules are back on. All rules are back on.
So, all right, this is where I got a couple things to end this. First of all, many years ago when I was doing Drive in my living room, I used to screen movies with different themes, and we had a sports theme night where I showed Blood of Heroes.
Okay.
And the second feature was a cheesy ass flick called Future Sport with Dean Cain and fucking Wesley Snipes and Vanessa Williams.
All right.
And this was like a futuristic, it was set in 2025, futuristic, gladiatorial, like definitely inspired by the original Rollerball.
Okay.
That movie was dumb as fuck, but it was better than this movie. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
It starred Dean Cain, yeah.
Exactly.
Right there, that puts it on a bad footing.
Very much so. Now, the other thing I'm going to say is that the original Rollerball, I am a fan of.
Yeah.
That movie was fucking awesome. It was set in a dystopian future where corporations made up a sport, basically, to end, violent conflict and wars and satiate the masses with, like, this blood sport.
Yeah, it's kind of like Running Man. Like, same
it
deal.
Was, yeah, exactly. And it was a satire. It was brilliant in its own way.
And if we're not gonna remember, a lot of the movie actually takes place on the rollerball rink.
Yeah.
As opposed to this remake where there's like what?
3 set pieces maybe,
and then it's all behind the scenes stuff, and you're like, I don't give a fuck about any of this other stuff. Yeah.
All the melodrama in this one. Oh god. Now, original Rollerball is awesome. And all I have to say about this fucking movie is that it was just like a dumb, flashy X Games jerk-off session.
Yeah.
It was so bad, and the fucking acting was awful. Awful.
Well, and you know, it's funny. Even promotion material can sometimes give you an idea of a movie.
Yeah.
Because I remember whenever I've seen the OG Rollerball, like on DVD with the original cover, it's just like a glove with fucking spikes and and that's all it is.
That's all you need.
And I remember the poster for this remake, and it was Chris Klein, LL Cool J, and Rebecca Romaine all in their gear, like posing.
Yeah.
And right there's a huge difference from like Spike Love, we're gonna fuck some shit up, to like, and we are the champions of Rollerball. Like, it just looks stupid. And right there, that tells you all you need to know is like, you got a movie that's like, because James Caan was pretty fucking big at the time he's in this.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, maybe somewhere on the posters, like, and James Caan. But like, they're like, fucking Spike Love, fuck your shit up. And then Remake's like, and starring these three magical
Even
people.
if they reached out to him, if he had looked at the script and would just been like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. So, that was the absolute fucking tire fire that was Rollerball. That is one of the best examples of why so many remakes are unnecessary, and I have a huge respect for a lot of John McTiernan's earlier movies, but I'm glad his career ended shortly after this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also warned that apparently, I'm just realizing now that as awesome as he is in Leon and some of our other movies, we might need to watch out for Jean Reno when it comes to remakes, because I also know that he was in the goddamn Tire Fire Godzilla remake from the guys that did Independence Day that came out in 98.
The one with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. He might have a little bit of the Chris Hemsworth curse of, if he shows up in a remake, that remake might be fucked up. All right, because I'm just realizing he's in a couple more remakes, and I don't think they're of good quality. So.
Well, that man is like Dennis Hopper. He works.
That is true.
He works a lot. He's in all kinds of shit, and a lot of his stuff not that great. But you know, I mean, he was great in Ronin, and he was really good in this movie. Came out about maybe 10 years ago called 22 Bullets. That fucking movie was awesome.
Oh yeah, no, and he's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, again, he's one of those actors, like, for all the Godzillas and all the Rollerballs, dude. Leon the Professionals. I mean, it keeps him afloat. All right,
he's got quantity over quality.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, but yeah, he does still represent from time to time. But yeah, that's all I got to say about this fucking awful remake. That had nothing to say or do that the first one had.
You want me to throw out one more remake that he was in?
Oh God, what was it?
Pink Panther.
Oh, is that the one with Steve Martin?
Steve Martin, yep.
Yeah, that was
both
not so much.
Pink Panther and Pink Panther 2, because they made a sequel.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have stopped after the Roberto Benigni Son of Pink Panther and just been like, nah, we don't need another reboot or a remake.
No.
Fuck it. All right, well, I've gone on with my hatred of this long enough.
And I've taken pleasure in watching you go off on your hatred. Jesus. Knowing, again, I think this is the only time we've had it where pre-watch schlock abuse ahead of time. So,
oof, man. All right. Oh, goddamn. Where can you find this podcast? Goddamn it.
This podcast, well, you can find it, on Spotify and most of the places the podcast is available. If you want to kind of delve into us all together, we have a site on Beautiful Disasters on Facebook. You can throw us a message, throw out any suggestions. We also are part of the GUI Network, so if you want to check out all of the amazing network shows, you can go to www.guipodcast.com and see all the greatness of not just us, but all the great GUI podcasts that are on there.
Hell yeah.
So,
just in the past month, the prior month in October, Schlocktober, we among all the shows, we had a ton of releases. It was a super fun month.
And I would just throw out the flagship podcast just celebrated its 200th episode.
200.
So, yeah, kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
I think we're up in the 50s. We're getting up there.
Yeah. We're a little over 50 now. Yeah, it's fun. All right. Well, fuck it, man. I'm gonna let you go. Like, yeah, you don't need to see this movie unless you really like. If somebody wanted to do like a joke track on this movie, that would be one thing.
This would be a good riff tracks.
It would.
I will throw that out there. This would be a good riff tracks.
Yeah, we could geekify the fuck out of this and really tear it to pieces.
Ooh, we'll throw it out there. So.
That would be fun.
We'll get some input from y'all if y'all want to hear us just tear this movie apart and sync it up with the movie. We'll do it. Fuck it.
Honestly, when I was watching this, I turned the speed up on the movie.
Yeah.
To like 1.1. I was just like, make this go faster.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this shit. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I am the Grutz.
F you honor.
All right. Fuck.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm F you Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
embrace the madness.
In a world ravaged by movie studios that keep rehashing the same things, only one podcaster has the guts to make it even worse. Join Mike the Hobbit as he traverses the internet to bring you some of the best and worst ideas for reboots, remakes, and reimaginings of some of your favorite and least favorite TV and film properties. Ideas like a John Waters He-Man movie, Fantastic Four the musical, and Aliens, done entirely with marionettes. What podcast would bring this evil upon the world? This is Smack My Pitch Up. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.
GUIPodcast.com